I have an extremely important question to ask y'all. What is the oldest, most continuous rivalry in college football, no matter the level? I will give you a second to post your guesses in the comment section below. The answer? The rivalry, which is played between Lehigh and Lafayette. It is a special game that dates back to 1884 and has been continuously played since 1897. This rivalry is older than the battle for Paul Bunyan's axe and the Deep South's oldest rivalry, as this game predates both rivalries by almost a decade. It is a game I have attended and has been a game I have wanted to talk about since I started my college football rivalry series. This is the story of the rivalry. But before we get into this, if you enjoy college football content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know what your favorite college football rivalry is in the comment section below. The game known as the rivalry kicks off this Saturday on ESPN Plus at 12:30 p.m. A game that is the oldest rivalry in college football has been continually played since 1897. The first game between Lehigh and Lafayette was played in 1884, a year after the first standardized rules for football were introduced. To put that all in perspective, the Washington Monument was being built, and Mark Twain was finishing up the adventures of Huckleberry Finn. That same year, Grover Cleveland defeated James G. Blaine for the presidency in the 1884 election, and the sitting president was Chester A. Arthur, who took over for James Garfield when he was assassinated. The rivalry between the schools goes back to before Lehigh was even founded over a conflict between a Presbyterian church and an Episcopalian congregation, as when Asa Packer moved to the area, who was an uneducated carpenter, he did not feel welcomed at the former and instead joined the latter. Packer was the founder of Lehigh. When Ario Party, a local coal baron, wanted to add an engineering wing to Lafayette, Packer was excited until he found out the school was controlled by the Presbyterian Church. He wanted nothing to do with the Presbyterian Church and instead worked with William Bacon Stevens, an Episcopal bishop of Philadelphia, to found Lehigh University. Lafayette would win the first game 56-0 and won 5 of the first 6 matchups, with the 4th game ending in a tie. During the early history of the rivalry, it was played twice a year. Lehigh would get their first win in Bethlehem 10-4 in 1887, and they would win the next 13 of the next 19 games, with Lafayette only winning 4 of those matchups until the series was paused in 1896. The only year the game has not been played in series history. Former Lafayette head coach Frank Tavani told Vice in 2014, "It wasn't played then because there was a dispute over a player's eligibility, so the rivalry was still very much alive and well more than a century ago." Lafayette's George Barkley would create the football helmet in 1896 because he was self-conscious about his appearance. The creation of the helmet was originally created to prevent cauliflower ear, not to protect the brain. When the rivalry returned, Lafayette dominated, winning 9 of the next 10 matchups until 1901. In 1902, the game would move to being played once a year rather than being played twice a year, and the schools would alternate who hosted the game. 1902 would also be the start of the modern era of college football. 1904 marked the first time the game would ever be postponed, as Dr. Henry S. Drowns passed away. Drown was the president of Lehigh at the time and was a former faculty member of Lafayette. In 1918, it is said that Lehigh halfback Raymond B. Snooks Dowd ran for a 115-yard rushing touchdown. He ran 115 because he began the play by running towards his end zone. He then circled both goalposts and traversed the entire length of the field for the score. There are some reports he ran for 160 yards on the play. In 1924, it is believed that Lafayette head coach Herb McCracken invented the huddle, though throughout my time working on this channel, I have come across multiple accounts saying this was the first time the huddle was used. So take that with a grain of salt. During that period, Lafayette was on the longest winning streak in the series, winning 10 straight from 1919 to 1928. During World War II, the war restricted travel to other opponents, and Lehigh was hosting officer training programs which limited sports programs. Thus, to fill out their schedule, nearby schools played 2 football games again in 1943 and 1944, with Lehigh students forming an ad hoc team just to keep the rivalry tradition alive. Lafayette would dominate the rivalry during that period, as they would outscore Lehigh 193-0 from November of 1943 to 1947 and 232-7 during that whole period. Lehigh would begin to dominate the rivalry in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, going 28-2 from 1950 to 1980. 1963 saw the rivalry game postponed for the second time in series history, as it was moved from November 23rd to November 30th following the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The schools met for the 100th time in 1964, playing to a 6-6 tie ironically. It was a year where Lehigh had 1 win and Lafayette had 0 wins. The rivalry though made the season special. 1987 would be the final year of Lehigh's Taylor Stadium, which would host a rivalry to close out the season. The game was played in below zero conditions, with the record showing a minus 17-degree wind chill. Lehigh trailed 10-9 in the fourth quarter until Mark McGowan led a 10-play 59-yard scoring drive. McGowan ran in for a touchdown, securing the 17-10 victory. In 1995, the Patriot League title would be on the line between the two teams. Lafayette took a 30-14 lead into the fourth quarter for an insane comeback that saw the Mountain Hawks force the first overtime game in series history. As the sun went down, the scoreboard lights at Goodman Stadium were turned up as high as they could go. To provide light, Lehigh would win the game after an insane one-handed catch and a 4th-and-1 stop on the defensive end to win the Patriot League title. That would start a 7-year win streak for Lehigh. In 2004 through 2006, the two would play for the Patriot League title again, with Lafayette winning all 3 matchups during a 4-game win streak that included an upset win over number 12 Lehigh with their backup quarterback to win their 2nd straight Patriot League title. Like the 100th matchup, the 150th matchup came during forgettable seasons for both teams, as Lehigh entered with a 3-7 record and Lafayette entered with a 4-7 record. For the second time in series history, the game took place away from the Mountain Hawks and Leopards' home stadiums. In 1891, the game took place in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, while in 2014, the 150th game took place in front of 50,000 fans at Yankee Stadium. The teams were expected to make 7 times what they would have made hosting the game on campus, with Tavini explaining, "We gave up a home game. That was a huge decision, obviously, one that in a lot of circles was not popular, particularly the vendors in the Lehigh Valley. It was an amazing opportunity, though, for both programs and the student athletes. Lafayette would take a 21-0 lead and won 27-7. Since that game, though, Lehigh has held an edge in the rivalry, winning 6 of the last 10 games, including last year's game. This rivalry matters, as former player Joe Weiss explained, "It doesn't matter what we do as long as we beat Lafayette. This rivalry matters as the schools are less than 17 miles apart and a 20-minute drive away. What is crazy is these schools aren't even that big, but are crucial to college football history. Lehigh has an enrollment of just over 5,000 students, while Lafayette has less than 3,000 enrolled students." Former Lehigh head coach Andy Cohn explained, "You can't have one without the other. Salt and pepper. That connection right there gives the staying power to this rivalry. We played through World War I and we played through World War II. We played through the Kennedy assassination, all these different events that have transpired, where other rivalries took a year off. This rivalry has never taken a year off. The tradition of this game honors the hardworking people who built the steel that made our country grow. Everyone comes, some as old as 90 even. As long as the game of football is played, there will be Lehigh versus Lafayette." Lafayette currently holds the edge when it comes to their record in the rivalry, as they hold the series lead 82-73-5. Lehigh, though, holds the record for the largest victory, winning the 1917 game 78-0. This year's matchup may be one of the most important in recent years, as the winner will not only win the Patriot League, but win the automatic bid to the FCS playoffs. Lehigh is currently the number 4 team in the FCS with an 11-0 record, while Lafayette enters with an 8-3 record and is the 24th ranked team in the FCS right now. Both teams are 6-0 in the Patriot League. Rivalry game 161 marks the 8th time Lehigh and Lafayette will play with the league title at stakes for both teams, and the 5th time they will meet with the league's automatic playoff berth on the line. However, the previous 7 matchup games have been won by the home team, with Lafayette winning on the road in 2005 and 2013. The 2005 and 2013 games mark the only other times Lehigh and Lafayette were tied at the top of the league standings entering the rivalry game. This is also the first time in the Patriot League era that Lehigh and Lafayette both entered this game nationally ranked. If you love college football, you need to watch this game this weekend, which kicks off at 12:30 p.m. on ESPN+. The fact game day is not here is kind of annoying in my opinion because of how big this game is. And even more disappointing is that it's not even on linear TV. What do you think? What is your favorite college football rivalry? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of my other videos YouTube thinks you will love right here. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.